Okay, hello everyone. Sorry for the delay. We were just setting up with Way and savedbyhim the necessary tools for the stream. But I think that now we are ready to go. Let me just give them a confirmation. Okay, just confirm. Perfect. And so here we start. First of all, thank everybody for joining, the people that are joining to watch this third game of the Grand Finals of the World Championships 2026. I'm the Fat Hobbit. I have my own YouTube channel. It's called The Hobbit's Hole in the Ground, or in Italian, Il Buco dell'Hobbit. Other people were supposed to do the stream today, Sirius and Biz, but apparently the time was not convenient for them today. So you will have to be patient and rely on me. Unfortunately, I was not able to find another commentator. We really tried. Iturralde at some point was supposed also to join me in this uh, comment, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Okay, anyway. So I'm aware that for the third game there is a new system for bidding, which relies on points for mastery, which I have to be fair, I've never used before, so I'm a little bit unfamiliar with. I just remember that for half points it's like a regular, one total point can be like an elite, or a half point can also be a leader, something like that. And you have to recruit them, from what I remember, in different nations. Uh, so let's see how this bidding goes. Okay, so Shadows goes to savedbyhim, while Way gets how many extra regulars? I think it was 3, something like that. I might have missed that. I guess I guess we will see. Also see from the map probably. Okay, there is one extra regular in Lorien, one extra regular in Karok, and two extra regulars in Osgiliath. So I guess like a total of 4 regulars more. Maybe I'm missing something else, but this definitely is on the table. Okay. Okay, these are the initial roles. Very good roll for the 3 people. Also regular roll for the shadows. So far nothing incredible. And also we see for the 3 people's player is Scouts with Grimburn and Elven Rope. This is a solid first turn. Nothing crazy. I think both players can do whatever they can do. So let's see what happens. Okay, Isengard moved to war. Which is the cleverest option. You will not get the mouth of sorry, not the mouth of the Witch King at this turn, so definitely you have to go for Saruman. And he also draws a Shadow Strategy card. Okay. Now, let's see. I guess the 3 people player will start by moving, simply. Unless they want to move some armies. There are the usual movements from Edoras to Westernnet, otherwise Karok to Old Forest Road, especially with your scouts, which is pretty good, unless you want to recruit in Karok first with Grimburn. That's also another choice. Let's see what happens. Alman Rope. Okay. So we have some use of the Palantir just to cycle the new character cards, and we get the Whip of the Swifter. Some players might prefer just to keep that event die only to potentially hide the fellowship if they get revealed in one of those two movements. Because preferably you would cycle strategy card, but since this does not seem the case. But okay, we see some. Okay, this is already an interesting turn. Okay, so instead of going for the usual approach, here we see Wei going already for the separation of companions. So we see that at least Boromir and Aragorn are separated in Moria. I guess that if you use a ring now with the Whip of the Swifter, you can indeed crown immediately Aragorn in Minas Tirith, which is an interesting approach because I feel like 1, 2, 3. It's an interesting approach. So now, since Saved by Him also preferred to master Sauron towards war with the other master instead of bringing in Saruman, Sauron could already attack uh, Gondor. The question is how. So I feel like, okay, you can go and crown Aragorn, but you have to be careful because there is the possibility for the shadow player to move the armies from both Minas Morgul and Morannon and converge them into North Ithilien, and from there might be a possible attacks already into Osgiliath this turn, so that at the beginning of the next turn you have to move away immediately the companions, which actually doesn't happen in this case because we see the shadow player converging the armies into Gorgoroth instead. Okay. Okay, probably some connectivity problem happened, so they will have to connect again. Okay. Yes, from time to time I will read the chat. Yes, indeed. Bob, Joe, Juan, they indeed bid. I think in the end it was something about like 4 regulars. One in Lorien, one in Karok, and two in Osgiliath. I might have missed something because I'm not very familiar with the system, but I think this was the final bid. Okay, so sorry for the small technical interruption. And okay, House of the Stewards gets cycled, and we have Aragorn and Boromir Minas Tirith. Interesting start. So we see that Saved by Him gives priority to getting more dice instead of putting pressure on Minas Tirith, which is a totally viable option. Other shadow players would have maybe rushed a little bit more the situation on Osgiliath just to put more pressure on the free people players, who has to take a decision on what he's going to do regarding Aragorn and Boromir. and also especially to already take the control of Osgiliath region, because normally in this kind of free people military victory attempts, or just sending around the companions on the map and creating shenanigans for the shadow player, Osgiliath is a very important region. And so usually the shadow player tries to take the control of it before the free people's player does. But here we see a different approach. Also probably because of the 4 regulars in Osgiliath, which makes it much more difficult, most likely. Okay, let's see the new cards. We have the Red Arrow with Scouts. Oh, double Scouts. Okay, that's interesting for the shadow play for the free people players. And Challenge of the King, which okay, it's an interesting card. Uh, it's an interesting card. It's a little bit early to see if it's going to be effective or not, but okay. Again, solid rolls for both players. No bad rolls so far, I would say. These are pretty solid. Okay, let's see what the free people players does. Okay, so 2 regulars from Osgiliath are sent into the north and south Filion just to create some obstacles in movement for the shadow player, and also by attacking those regions, the shadow player will advance Gondor closer to war. So that's a solid move. That's a really solid move from Wei. And somehow it kind of forces also the shadow player hand, because unfortunately Gondor is not a situation that you can ignore for a long time. You have to take into account that Boromir is there, and probably Gondor will go to war pretty quickly. And yeah, as the shadow player, you have to think about that. You have to do something about that. So let's see how Saved by Him will handle the situation. One, two, three, 4 attacks for the shadow player, maybe even more if you do. Ah, well, he also has the ring, so potentially 5 attacks. I wonder what can he do with 5 attacks. Honestly, as the shadow, even though it looks kind of um, scary, I would probably rush Minas State right now. Because if I'm attacking North or South Ethiopian right now, okay, I'm advancing Gondor one step towards war. But then when I'm attacking Osgiliath, where there are now 2 regulars, which is much different compared to the 4 regulars of before, okay, I'm sending Gondor to war, but then the free people players has to decide, do I want to master in Minas State, since now Gondor is war, or I want to send companions away. So I think I would it's totally possible also to pressure Minas State in this scenario. But Shadow decides to go for a different route. He brings more reinforcements to Morannon and also south Dol Guldur, the western Brownlands, indeed. The difference now is that if the free people players just brings um, Gondor closer to war, it can be more difficult to as the free people player, you can do both things. You can master Minas Tirith and also move around companions. But we instead see the free people player playing the Red Harrow, which is very solid because we don't have to forget that there are still potentially 3 attacks that the Shadow player may use to put under siege Helm's Deep as well. Sorry if my comment comes a little bit later, but I'm also trying to explain all the possible routes that the players are thinking. They are good players, so they're playing very fast. But the point is that one has to also consider all the possible points of threat of the shadow player whenever planning their defense. And in that scenario, Helm's Deep also look like a potential target. So reinforcing in Edoras is not such a bad idea. Still 3 potential attacks for the shadow. Okay, I guess Shadow wants to threaten the take of Minas Tirith from Duradan Forest, and he's also bringing strength armies from Farad to Nirad. Now, this is convenient because Gondor will not go to war, but then at the same time, the strength of that army in Duradan Forest is not so much. But since you're not going to muster in there, it's going to be quite difficult for the free people player. And indeed, the way decides to bring Aragorn to Edoras. Now, keep in mind that Edoras might still get attacked this same round because the Shadow still has 2 more attacks. And someone commented that they were expecting House of the Stewards, which is also a good idea. Yes, but you can still play that one under siege. So I think that if you don't feel that strong about sending Aragorn under siege, you have to get him out of there as soon as you can, and then you can potentially play House of the Stewards under siege. So I think this was the right call from Way. At the same time, Aragorn there is still quite some um, how can I say, temptation for the shadow player because you still have at least 2 attacks, maybe more. We don't know what are the cards for the shadow players. So potentially the shadow player may have 3 attacks. And yeah, doesn't look too bad the attack on the rest. It depends because you're bringing also Ron to war, so you have to consider that. Okay, savedbyhim doesn't go for that. He simply puts Minas Tirith under siege. Sure, that's also a solid option before. I mean, savedbyhim doesn't know about House of the Stewards, so he thinks that potentially there are no reinforcement cards for Minas Tirith. Uh, so just to secure that there are no other reinforcements put into Minas Tirith. I think that Minas Morgul army gets whacked by Aragorn and Boromir. So, guys, expected house, element house plus field battle. I think it was a little bit ambitious, that plan, but why risking a field battle on Minas Tirith when you can still master under siege? And also, you should resist the two field battles before you can start. Like field battles make sense if you can start to master, but in that case, you should have waited for like two field battles before you can master. So I don't know if that's the best option for the free people players. That's sometimes the problem of these options of these let's say separation of companion strategies from the first turn for free people player, especially when they're going to Minas State, is that you have to understand if you want to prioritize the safety of your own companions, specifically of Aragorn in this case, or like putting pressure on a mastering. And that's something that sometimes you have to decide what you want to do because since free people's resources are very limited, you cannot get to do both of them all the time. So it's kind of a difficult choice. Okay, but at the same time, we saw Monster House played by the Shadow player and also um, Rohan advanced. Was it Rohan? Yes, Rohan advanced on the political track. So, yeah. So now the free people player is asking the question to the Shadow player, what do we want to do? I'm going to soon bring Gondor to war. I'm going to bring soon Ron to war. This is a lot of pressure. So you better like you are forcing the shadow player's hand, and you're asking him where you're attacking, what are you attacking, with how much conviction you're attacking. So yeah, and as we can see, the shadow player uses one ring now already, so he's probably feeling the pressure of the shadow player. Let's see what happens. Star with Ilian, no cards. Perfect. Okay. Indeed, we need to see the Witch King as well. Yes, that's also correct. A lot of stuff is going on. Okay, scouts used to move the regular in Skillet. Sure. I guess even in such a scenario, you still want to move the fellowship at least once per turn, not necessarily to win with the fellowship. Like potentially yes, but even if that's not your main point, you still want the shadow player to allocate one die in the hunt pool every turn, I would suspect. So I could imagine maybe now wait trying to move the fellowship at least one time, but let's see. Maybe not. Ah, okay. The fellowship moves indeed. Safe. And now we will see the Witch King, probably in South Fidia. Indeed. Okay. First two turns, kind of crazy. And now let's see what happens going into the third turn. Let's see what the free people player draws. Help and look for, and hands awake and mood. Okay. Help and look for very interesting draw, especially for the Minas Tirith situation. So we will see what happens there. Probably it's gonna get played right away without thinking twice. Or maybe not. Let's see. Again, so far, pretty much average rolls from both players. Maybe one can argue that they're a little bit too much of masters for the Shadow so far, but overall, no particularly unlucky rolls, I would say. I would be really tempted as the free player now to play Help and Look for on Minas Tirith, unless you have other military plans right now, which I can't really see. No, House of the Stuarts gets played instead, which is okay. I don't know, interesting option. But he cycles into strategy card because yes, he does two cards with the House of Stuarts and then one card for the Gandalf's ability, which is a character card, which is Mythical Coat and Sting. Okay, I guess he's trying to cycle uh, as many strategy cards as possible. So playing probably Help and Look for there. Like you can still play it later if you are retreating into Losarak, for example. You can still play there, and maybe playing House of the Stewards allows you to cycle into more strategy card compared to Help and Look for. So this is also an interesting move from Way. I kind of agree with him. And there is the attack on Osgiliath. Swarm of Bats gets nothing, and we have the two hits. But there are three regulars there. Okay, yes, two hits back. And now Help and Look for is not that strong anymore. Okay, where are you going? Are you going to North Filian or Losanak? I mean, I guess you can master some more times in Losanak and then play Help and Look for, so that's still helpful. But no, Wei decides to go to North Filian. Okay. Mm, okay, that's interesting choice. As shadow player, you probably also have to think that you have to take Minas Tirith as soon as you can, because the longer you let Boromir sit there, and the more you let the free people players cycle cards, uh, the more difficult it's gonna get to take. Okay, there is one more card that can create some problems in Minas Tirith, and that one is Guards of the Citadel. Um, okay, North Finland gets attacked by Dagor. The army in Dagor ladder. Only one hit, and then there is press. Like, also the choice of these attacks is interesting because I'm wondering why Saved by Him really needs to bring the army from Dagorlad closer to Minas Tirith right now. Because when you have army results, it's better to move armies because it's the only die that allows you to move two armies at the same time. And maybe you can wait to have character results instead to do these individual attacks for dice efficiencies. But I don't know. Maybe there is a particular reason why Saved by Him is going for these kind of attacks that I'm not able to see right now, but we will see. Well, the strategic value that I was thinking behind help and look for is that in that case, you're fighting with three regulars against one regular, and the shadow players can take many hits, and probably they're gonna get forced to retreat into Duradhan Forest. And in that way, you can free Minas Tirith and bring in some more armies from Osgiliath and potentially master one more time in Minas Tirith, which can become like a huge pain in the ass for the Shadow. But we saw that Wade preferred to go for House of the Stewards instead. Okay, the Fellowship move and gets hit by a Fey, which is kind of ideal for the few people player because they can get Gandalf the White this turn right away. So it's kind of convenient. Convenient for the few people players, obviously. Okay, I can only imagine Southern and Easternlings starting to move towards war as well. You want to bring in the Easternling armies, indeed. Not good for corruption though, that's right. But in this kind of games, you want to move very slowly, either way, with the Fellowship. So I would actually prefer to lose Gandalf in the early turns so that I get additional dice and yeah, and then trying to move as slow as possible later on. So I think overall this is kind of advantageous for the few people. Also, you will have to excuse me because in this stream, I will try to make sense of some decision from the few people player for the military victory side. Most likely, maybe not, but most likely we will see that. And I have some experience with it, but I'm not the most expert player for it, so I will not be able to understand all moves at all times. So I guess we will have to explore them as we move on with the game together because I don't know all the tricks on the book regarding the free people player military victory at times. So free people's moves uh, go on to war, and we also see some uh, aggregation of armies in the north, probably going for Rivendell. And we see some armies brought finally to Minas Tirith. And now the free people starts to master in Edoras. And now we see Shadow Lanterns played into Duradhan Forest. Nice play. And also Osgiliath. Very nice trap card, we could say, quoting Yu-Gi-Oh! From Saved by Him, trying to put on some pressure onto the Rohan region. And now we go into the fourth turn, where the free people player draws Athras, and Imrail. Anduril combat card effect can be very, very strong in this scenario. Now the question is, what are you discarding? Hmm. That's an interesting question. I might be tempted at this point to discard Help and Look For because it was very, very good before, and now I'm not so sure anymore. But it actually goes for email plus Dane. Okay, I kind of see the value of both Valor and Shield Wall in this scenario. One of those two had to go, according to me. But then I guess the other could have been as well, Help and Look For. But let's see. Okay, now for people players, rolling 6 dice per turn, which is kind of scary. Indeed, Obliterator. Yes, yes, you guessed it right. I think that the email made sense since now you can also master in Dolamrov. And Shield Wall is a good card effect, but all the other cards are pretty good. But for Dine, I was also maybe envisioning Help and Look For, unless you're really planning to create some other shenanigans in Helm's Deep. Challenge of the King has Sudden Stack though, which is a pretty good combat card effect. It's pretty good. It essentially allows you to have an extra roll of attack, which can make the difference in many situations. So I don't know, email for sure. I was also maybe thinking of help, but help, I don't know. Either you're going to use it on Helm's Deep or something like that. Let's see. Okay, if people moves, they're not it. Okay. Probably wanted to stall some time. They were not so sure about what to do at this very moment. They wanted to see some actions from the shadow player. But I can see, for example, now the shadow player is simply bringing Southern and Eastern to war and maybe bluffing a potential day without dawn and asking the free people player, now what? What are we going to do about this? So let's see if this is what happens. Yeah, that's totally an option, and I think also the shadow player is looking at that when targeting. Okay, someone is commenting that kicking Fellowship out of Rivendell seems decent. Absolutely, especially in these kind of games where it's gonna be a slow burn. You want to put pressure on all sides for few people as players, so going for the main um, strongholds along the way of the three people's path. It's a good option. That's why also taking Minas Tirith is good, because later on it cannot be a point of rest for the Fellowship. Lorien as well is can be another potential option for the Shadow player. But yes, targeting Rivendell this early on can also lead to that. Yeah, well seen. Hmm. Now, as the Shadow player, what are you prioritizing this turn? The good thing is you may have, okay, 1 to 3 attacks for sure, maybe even 4. We don't know the cards of the Shadow player. With 4 attacks and only 1 or potential 2 master, if you want to use the Will of the West as a master from the 3 people player, maybe you can put a lot of pressure on Ron already. Because if you don't use the hybrid or the character or the Will of the West to move Aragorn away from Edoras, let's say into Westernnet, if you don't do that, and you have potentially 4 attacks, you can trap Aragorn and you can end him pretty quickly. And that's very tempting for the 3 people Shadow player. But it depends on how many attacks the Shadow player has. With 3 attacks is already like okay, but less tempting. With 4 attacks is I would absolutely consider that. But then at the same time, you have to. I guess Minas Tirith is not so much of a priority because, yes, as I said before, there is still 1 card out there that can create some problem on Minas Tirith, which is Guards of the Citadel. But other than that, I guess you can wait more for that. Also, given that unless you want to put some pressure early on the Fellowship, as we talked about before, you can still maybe simply put Rivendell um, under siege, which is always good. So either you're prioritizing that as a Shadow player, putting Rivendell under siege so that you're putting some pressure on the Fellowship, or if you have 4 attacks, I would totally consider putting pressure on Ron and especially on Aragorn. But again, it depends on the Shadow player's cards, which we are not allowed to see, unfortunately. But we saw Southern and Eastern move to war, so now the 3 people player has to wonder, does he have Dave without Dawn? But even if he does it, like it's just 1 die for 1 die. I think you can allow that, so that's okay. And instead, we see 3 people player mastering in Edders. I guess 3 people player is also bluffing a potential Path of the Roses for Lost Sarnak. The question is Saved by Him buying that? Let's see. This would be Aragorn +1, perhaps into killing Saruman to deal with Aragorn or that the Rohan army is with. I kind of agree that the Rohan situation looks kind of the priority at the moment. But it depends on how many attacks you have. If it's just these 3 attacks, it may be a little bit difficult to go for Rohan. But if you have an additional attack in your hand, with the Black Captain commands, the other one that now I don't remember the name, I think you should totally go for Rohan as the Shadow player. Okay, we see Saved by Him playing Warren with Soren Toil. Okay, that's an interesting card to play. I guess it's not the most effective card in this game, especially for the number of companions are out of the fellowship and also how slowly the fellowship will move. Um, but I don't not so sure that it sucks that much again because challenge and ends they can go. They're not the most important cards in hand. And also considering that you have to move once per turn and you can still take a lot of corruption in before taking companions as casualties. I'm kind of happy as the three people. I would be happy as the three people to see this kind of card played by the shadow player because it means that probably they don't have anything better and they're just stalling for time. So I think that's rather okay. It's not the worst. Okay, Challenge of the King gets played finally. And we get one eye, which is good, given the hunt pool is not bad at all to get one eye like that already. Let's see if we can go for the second eye. Oh, this is a lot of value for the shadow player. This is a lot of luck, I will say as well. This is very nice for the shadow player. Sorry, for the free people's player, especially with this kind of hunt pool, getting two highs, specifically two highs, that's a lot of luck. That's good for the free people player. Okay, so that was rather good for the free people. hmm Now, do you have like captain commands? If you have it, you're going to start attack, or maybe even if, okay, it would be better to have it to attack Ron in that scenario. But I guess you can start to put pressure on Ron even without it. But I would prefer to have a fourth attack. Let's see if that's indeed what Saved by Him has. And, we see some strange movements from Minas Tirith to Osgiliath. By the way, if you have three more attacks, you can still consider going for um, Tolamot as well. But again, I think your main priority is dealing with the Rohan situation. Maybe given these moves, I don't know. Probably if you move the Witch King that way, probably doesn't have a Black Captain commands. Or the Ring Rates are abroad. So I feel like, okay, you have only two more attacks. I mean, you can still go for one. You can definitely still go for one. But it feels more dangerous. Oh, decides to move twice. These I did not foresee. And okay, luckily it does not get hit. But these I really did not foresee because, especially with one with Sir and Toil in play, and you have Athas, Emitting, and Cotton Sting in hand moving twice with his hand pool. I don't know. Okay. I was very lucky for the Free People's player. Wei doesn't want to be stuck in either Rivendell or Moria. I get it, but moving twice versus three eyes, especially in a situation where you decided to separate all your companions, I mean, not all of them, but the majority of them, it's facing also one with Sword and Toil and the cards you have in hand. I don't know. That's a difficult choice. Not so sure about it. And also, there is always the possibility to go for the high pass. Especially in this kind of game, you want to take it slow. I don't know. I thought that was rather lucky for him. But let's see. Okay, and actually, yes, Shadow players decides to go towards Dolamroth, which again, does he have the third attack at this point? Because if you don't have it, that's kind of dangerous again. Let's see. Okay, three people players, throws a character card, which makes sense. A Lamedon, okay. And in all of these, Saved by Him is leaving Lossarnak open. I understand that he doesn't have too many dice to take care of everything, but then at the same time, if you're scared of Path of the Roses, maybe Saved by Him thinks that he cannot have Path of the Roses, otherwise he would have already played it. But you have to be sure. You have to be sure. Now, do you master with the Will of the West in the Lamrot? I would consider that, but it depends if you want maybe bring the army of Aragorn closer to Westernnet. If you want to prioritize that, it's an interesting question. Yeah, okay. The army Nedoras gets moved into Westernnet, and the regular from Eastern Brownlands, oh sorry, Eastern Imimoil. Ah no, okay. The regular of Gondor stays where it is. Let's see. Okay, the army from Karok gets moved into Old Forest Road. Okay. Dreadful spells. Haha. Okay. Dolamrut. But again, maybe Save by Him doesn't have good cards in hand, but playing Dreadful spells in this way on Dolamrut, especially when it's not under siege, feels like a waste to me. But probably it would be interesting to see Save by Him hand because probably just have junk cards at this point. I don't know. We see him going into the fifth turn. We see Wei drawing into a second hand card, which is good. Yes, actually, we saw. Ah, yes, we have all the free hands cards. Yeah, correct. And also through a day and night, which is pretty good given the position of Aragorn with that army in Western Net. So, yep. So definitely, I'm going to keep through a day and night as the free people player. Definitely, Atheras as well. It's something you want to keep. It's good for both strategies. Now, what do you want to discard? Yeah, again, I feel like help and look for the can go. The last battle has daylight, though. Definitely, I would see help and look for going away at this point. Unless you want to keep it for potential attacks into Helm's Deep. But I guess, I don't know. At this point, considering all cards, I would discard help and look for it. And then, okay, here it depends what you want to do. If you want to go for a free people military victory attempts, you want to keep whole hands cards. That's for sure. That's without question. So you might even consider discarding Mithril Coat and Sting, potentially. But it depends what you're going for. But actually, okay, we see here that, okay, Alpha Lookford goes away, and Daylight also is discarded. Okay. Free Peoples gets declared in Dimrildale. I don't understand why would you do this, because I get that you want to pass through Moria without injuries, but now you're exposed to so many free people, to so many shadow corruption cards that I would have still moved one time from uh, Rivendell and see what the shadow players decides to do, because the shadow player may decide to put pressure on Rivendell, but then if he's putting pressure on Rivendell, he's taking away pressure from Rohan. So I don't know. I think I would have stayed in Rivendell, but that's a personal choice. Okay. Yeah, this is a very good role for the free people player, not so much for the shadow player. And this can be like a pivotal, a turning of the tides turn, because this can really bring some advantage to the free people player, which we see bringing the armies into from Westerment into Force of Eisen, and also from Eastern Imimul into Eastern Brownlands. Okay. Saruman is dead. Let's wait for it. Saruman can. Let's wait and see. Of course, with free hand cards, can be pretty rough for Saruman. But let's see. Let's see. Yes, we see a full master of Orthanc. At this point, Orthanc will be put under siege. We don't know the shadow player hands, because the shadow player may have Ologai, may have Half Orcs and Goblin Man, so it depends. May still have new powers rising, and the shadow player may be bluffing. So it's not given the offer attack. Let's see what happens. So Orcs multiplying again is played in to master both in Dol Guldur and also what's the name of the other one? Mount Gundabad, exactly. Maybe Saved by Him is trying to cycle into helpful strategy cards, like I mentioned before, Ologai or Half Orcs and Goblin Man. Let's see. Okay, now you want to play the hands first, of course. Okay, let's start with the first hand card. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Let's go. Oh, 3 hits! That's crazy! That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Uh, damn. Let's see for the second one. 2 more hits. Okay, but come on, wait. You're rolling way too good at this game. What's happening? Oh my god. Let's see the last one at this point. You have to go for the last one. Yes, especially if you have Athelas in hand. Of course. Let's see. 2 more. A total of 7 hits on Orphan. Okay, this is way too lucky. Come on. What's happening here? Okay, if Shadow doesn't have Ologai or something like that, Orphanc is gone at this turn. 100%. Let's hope for a new power is rising. Let's really hope for a new power is rising. If Saved by Him did that and he bluffed a new power is rising, it's an extremely good player. 7 hits. 7 hits. This is just crazy. Okay. I mean, it can happen. It can happen, but still. Sorry, let's read some comments. Definitely lucky is that free hands. I'm not so sure which single way goes for. Okay, probably after Orthanc, which is the second option for way. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Maybe the idea is not even going for military victory attempts for the moment, but if you're just removing Saruman's die, that's good enough. At this very moment, I cannot see a I mean, maybe Moria, but that's very, like, that's a stretch. That's a big stretch. I don't know. I don't see a clear second stronghold at the moment for the three people player. Let's see. My like has been crazy this game. A little bit way. A little bit. We can all agree maybe on the fact that the luck so far is a little bit on your side. But let's see. Luck changes. It can go on the other way around as well. The game is not over definitely. So we will see. It's not over until it's over. Hmm. Okay, the Lamot, at least, is put under siege. Hmm? So no new power is rising, no holo guy, no half orcs and goblin man. So I guess this is the end for Orphanc. Ay, 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 ay. 7 hits. Oh well, what to do? Orphanc with Atheras. I wonder if you actually need to play Atheras right now. I mean, probably it's gonna fall either way, but okay, you can keep it for something else. But anyway, 3 hits against one, and there it goes. Saruman is dead. Orphanc is conquered, and yeah, it's getting very rough for the shadow player. This is very, very, very rough for the shadow player. I doubt that this ever happened except in Worm. Yeah, I mean, definitely has happened before, but given this combination of cards and everything, like, this has been pretty convenient for the three peoples for sure so far. It's still difficult. Like, yes, it's still difficult, but it's still difficult if you want to go three people military victory attempt. But again, I'm not so sure if you're forced to do that as the three people player. Because at this point, you already took out one additional die from Shadow. And with that kind of advantage, given that you have 6 dice as the three people player, and you can move safely once per turn, little by little, creating problems in Rohan, waiting to draw good cards, and also Minas Tirith doesn't look easy at all. I think you can carry on this game for a long time, and three people ring victory is totally doable still at this point. So not necessarily the three people player has to go for military victory. Yeah, so we will see. I don't know. If at this point, let's play a game. If the three people is still convinced for going for the military route. Which stronghold do you guys see him going for? Right now, myself, I probably see something like, of course, not right now, but like in the future, something like Moria. But that's very rough. That's very tough. So maybe either Moria or Dol Guldur for myself. Ooh, through a day and night. That's a that's a tasty play. So you probably want to retreat back to Deep, indeed. Okay, that's very strong. My God. I cannot even imagine what Selbayim is thinking right now, seeing all this sequence of very convenient cards. Like, ah, damn. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I would agree. It's military stalling because if you're playing through a day and night like that, and not for like an offensive strategy, but more for like a defensive strategy. And also, if you're leaving behind just two regulars in Northflank, I think you're definitely going for the military stalling instead of the military win. So I guess Way's approach in this game is going to be okay. Up until this point, we will see in the future everything changes, but up until now, I think he's going for a ring victory approach more than a military approach. So yeah. Despite everything, this is an extremely entertaining game. So thanks again, Way and Saved by Him. This is for sure an epic third game for these finals of the 2026 World Championship. Now, I feel like that as the shadow player, since you're gonna have less dice starting with the next turn, you have to consider of removing. Okay, let's see. Fall thing from the deep. Zero reveal. Okay, fellowship gets reveal. Okay, that was an interesting move from Seth Baim, and I think it was well played. He thought that given that the three people player has one character card in hand, and there are two heights that have been drawn from the hunt, you can probably take away something of important value from the three people player playing foul thing like that, forcing him to discard the only character card in the hand, which can be very good, but which is indeed midfield court and stink. But unfortunately, he drew into a zero reveal, which again, kind of unlucky for the free people player, the shadow player, given the hunt, because yeah, I mean, look at that hunt pool. Like any other tile, okay, not any other tile, but on let's say 13 tiles, nine of them were good. But okay. Um, um, I guess I was saying before. I guess now shadow player has to focus on removing. Like he has too many problems on the map. I feel like the shadow players, and you have to start to removing some tasks. Like you have to take care of some stuff. And I feel like maybe taking Dolamat right now should be helpful because at least like okay now it's taken, you don't have to think about that anymore, and potentially you can bring the armies from Dolamrot to Rohan to help to support the siege into steep or something else. So I feel like you need to check some points in your list. And I feel like if you're going for the military approach as a shadow player, I think right now your strategy is pretty clear. Like you have to go at least for Dolamrot, Pelargir, Edoras, and Rivendell. And the last 4 points, they can be again Minas Tirith is totally possible, so you can go for that. And the last 2 points, maybe Arms Deep or maybe not. But the point is that I feel like you need to the many of the military points for the shadow players. I think at this point are pretty much determined, and you have to start to walk towards that and uh, removing some items from your checklist. So I guess attacking the Labyrinth right now is not such a bad idea, unless he's scared of something else. Let's see. Actually, no. It decides to take both Folde and Edoras. Okay. Okay. Now the Fellowship hides, which makes sense. Let's see, what's the last event card? What's that about? Okay, it's a red tile. I expect the other stake becomes much more annoying later. Yes, yes, that's true. And it's also true that Dolamrot is like, but you don't know about email. I guess, I don't know. It is true that it can become very annoying later, but um, I don't know. I think I would have rather gone for Dolamrot. I cannot really logically explain it, it's just a feeling. But saved not playing around Path of the Roses. Apparently not for Duradan Forest and Losenak. No, that's not what. This is not what he has done so far. Minas Tirith, Edoras, Pelagi, Rivendell, and something like an Eastern Assault on Erebor. For sure, Erebor is still another option. For sure. Definitely. Ah, okay. New turn. We see Frandu's Archers and there I'm back again for the 3 people player. And again, not a very good role for the Shadow player. This is pretty bad. Fellowship moves, it's not hit. Ah, very bad role for the Shadow player. Very, very bad role. Okay, Cool Weather is played. Very good. To move the Fellowship back into Moria. Yes, I think this is a solid play. Many people want to delay to play Cool Weather as long as possible in order to trigger the 3 people play when they're entering Mordor. But I think in this situation, this is a much better use of the card. And 3 people moves a second time, and it's a 2. So are you going to take the damage or are you going to take a companion? I guess you can just take the damage from the moment because you don't want to risk losing Mithril Coat and Sting. Also, you want to bring your corruption a little bit up to avoid a powerful Morgul wound later on. And also, I don't know if you want to lose Gimli and Legolas this early on because you're still waiting to see Axe and Bow later on in your character deck. So I guess just taking Corruption at this point is the best option. Let's see. Yeah, I think it makes sense to take a Corruption point. Yeah, it's the best choice in this scenario. Okay, now what to do as the Shadow player? My God. My God. Okay, drawing character card, which makes sense. This is also the thing about attacking Dolamrod. You're starting to cycle bad character cards into good character cards. So I would definitely consider going for an attack on Dolamart at this point. At some point it will happen, I guess. Drawing character cards. Yes, you know that when the shadow players is actively drawing character cards, you know that it's not going well for the shadow player, for sure. Yeah. The ring is mine, is played, which is always good. Okay, we have 2 red tiles in the hand pool and 1 blue tile for the murder track. Okay. Yes. Halves gets Master towards war. Yep. Yep. You have to do it at some point. Actually, yes, this is the other thing. If the 3 people player brings the elves all the way towards war this turn, which they can do with a hybrid and the Will of the West, you have to keep at least 1 attack for Rivendell. At least 1 attack for Rivendell you have to keep. Okay. We see an undo, so we don't see the elves. Is it going to be the north instead? I think the elves was a pretty good choice as well, but let's see. Okay, the north instead of the elves. I mean, they're both viable options. I think elves was not such a bad idea if you also want to pressure military threats on Mount Gundabad and Moria. But I guess that if you want to play the very long game, probably North makes a little bit more sense because you can defend very actively the dew line, which is one of the weakest points of the map. And probably the only Elven Stronghold that is going to be targeted by Shadow at this point is going to be Rivendell. So even if you're mastering the Elf Towards War, it doesn't make a big difference for Rivendell. Because Lorien has already an extra point of master there. You have Thranduil's Archer in hand to defend Woodland Realm. I see it this way. If you're still hoping for a military victory strategy, maybe I would push forwards the elves. Whereas if I'm going for a longer approach of stalling the Shadow military victory, maybe I would advance the north. As a long-term strategy. Unless you want to pressure the elves to war in this turn because you want to pressure that attack from the shadow player into Rivendell. But I don't really see why, like as the free people player, why you would want to do something like that. Are you scared of the double attack from the free people player, shadow player? For which reason? I don't really see it. So I guess maybe advancing north makes sense. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. I think it makes sense. And of course, yes, you can also go for the military route with the Norfolk War, 100%. But my point is just it's gonna take a little bit more time because you have to master more units to create a considerable army from the North units, while the army in Lorien is already pretty dangerous for an attack in Moria and Mount Gundabad for quick military victory attempts. But I guess Wei is going for the slow burn approach, which I respect. Okay, Dolamrot gets attacked finally, and he decides to cycle a strategy card. Okay, so probably the only character card in hand is pretty good for the shadow player. And yes, Dolamrot falls pretty easily. So there you go. And it's also convenient to cycle the fighting Uruk-hai right now since Saruman is out of the equation. So yeah. Now we can't use that good character. No, okay, not this turn, but probably it's a very good character card that you don't want to cycle and you want to use it on next turns. So that's probably like that's probably why it doesn't get cycled because that's my supposition. Either way, we don't know for sure because we cannot see Shadow's player's end. But yeah, if it was Barrow, but I guess yeah, I don't know. Barrow unfortunately is only one card in a deck of 24, so. Or maybe you mean a card that would be nice at top of Moria, like before Moria. Well, but it was in Rivendell in that case, so uh, not many cards you can play in that scenario. Okay, yes, the Norths are moving towards war, way using his own, like being consistent with his strategy, which at this point makes sense. So where are you mastering? Hmm. Where are you mastering? You have to be. Hmm. Are you mastering maybe Moria? Because mastering Moria can not only protect from free people military attempts, but also creating a support for Rivendell. But okay, no, it decides to go to Saffron, so probably we will see some attacks on Erebor, but with the North at war right now, tough choice. Tough choice. But probably Saved by Him thinks that even if it's tough, it's easier compared to the alternative, which is Helm's Deep. So yeah. Oh, okay. Legolas gets moved to Woodlingham thanks to there and back again, and so North goes to war, and the Elves advance as well on the political tract. Okay, and another elite in South Rune. And reinforcements in Dale because yes. Now the North is at war. It's very tough, and the armies gets merged from the Shadow player into East Rune. Yeah, I mean, I guess Saved by Him is right. Like, even though is like, even though like for sure you're not putting pressure on the due line. Maybe yes, maybe even for like hoping to get some points, but more like to create some obstacles in the free people military victory path. So I guess that makes sense. Okay, Fellowship declares in Lorien and heals 1 corruption point. We see also Fire of Galadriel and the Power of Tom Bombadil for the free people player. No, what is this role? Come on. What is this role for the free people, for the shadow player? Okay, but I mean, what to do, honestly? Jesus, yes. Like, uh, I mean, I feel a little bit for Saved by Him because, yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's see. It's not over until it's over, but. Ooh. I mean, you have one master potentially for the. Is this the opportunity for the free people player to win with to go for the military win? Let's see, how many dice you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks. 1, 2. Ah, but the elves are not at war. That's a problem. Um, so most likely not. No, I don't see. I don't see this the turn where the 3 people player goes for the military victory, unless. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, no, I don't see it this turn. So elves gets moved to actually maybe yes. If you have a 1, 2, 3, 4 because you have a Legolas. Good point. With Legolas, 1, 2, 3, 4 attack. 1, 2, 3. I mean, you could potentially go for Mount Gundabad this turn, but but you have to protect the Orphanc, and you can simply doing that by moving the army from Helm's Deep. Sorry, Mount Gundabad. Sure. You can also go for Mount Gundabad, honestly. Yeah, either Dol Guldur or Mount Gundabad. Either of those, it's okay. I guess 1, 2, 3. Well, I guess for Mount Gundabad, you have less. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, Mount Gundabad, you don't have enough attacks, I guess. So you have to go for Dol Guldur if you're going for military victory attempts. But Dol Guldur could be, even though it's kind of risky, you will have an army with 4 regulars and 2 elites. But if savedbyhim is clever, he's going to put the army. Well, he's going for Rivendell, okay. But no, okay. This is a tough decision now. Okay, as the 3 people player, you have to decide. It still feels dangerous though to go for Dol Guldur. 4 regulars and 2 elites, okay, and 3 leadership. Okay, you have Legolas, but maybe it's not enough. Is it enough? But you also right. You also have yes. You also have Lorian, so forget Dale. So okay, this is much different. Yeah, exactly. And you have to cover Forts of Eisen. Exactly. That was the important thing. If savedbyhim saw the 3 people military win, he had to put the army from Westernet into Forts of Eisen. But I guess that at this point we're going for the 3 people military win. If Wei is lucky, Dol Guldur is the way to go. But you're not winning this turn with these dice. So you're hoping for next turn? Hmm. I like this move from Wei. I like this move from Wei because even if you don't win this turn, even if you don't win this turn, it's very difficult for the shadow player to take back. You have to decide. You have to take back 1. Shadow player, you have to take back either Orthanc or maybe I would have moved more armies, even a bigger army from Forts of Eisen, but then you have to calculate how many attacks the shadow player has, and if they can win military. Probably yes. Probably you cannot move too many armies, too many. Uh, Sorry. Too many army units out of Helm's Deep because potentially the shadow players could win next turn by taking Minas Tirith, Helm's Deep, and Rivendell. So you can still go for the free people military win approach. By the way, I'm saying all of this, but it's not like Wei is potentially showing a free people military victory, but is not necessarily going for that. So this is also why I particularly like this approach, because it's creating some problems to the shadow players that he needs to take a decision, especially in a turn where he has very few actions and is not taking the last action of the turn. So this is why I particularly like this Wei's decision of showing a potential military victory, and you don't necessarily have to follow through, but it looks intimidating. It looks intimidating enough. And I think the decision of leaving behind moving just two elites in Forts of Eisen makes sense, because you need to protect Orthanc either way, but you have to leave behind enough units to protect Amsdeep. Otherwise, next turn, Shadow player may potentially win militarily. Yeah, this is a very fragile situation, but I like Wei's approach. And now Saved by Him needs to think. This is tough. Yeah. By the way, I'm saying all of this, but I didn't consider Moria. Though Moria feels very dangerous. Moria feels very, very, very dangerous to go for a military victory on Moria right now. I hope that Wei doesn't go for Moria, because that feels very dangerous. Very, very. Um, let's see. Feel like as the free people player, you have to be patient and you have to go for Mount Gundabad. That's my idea. Sorry, Mount Gundabad, Dol Guldur. Yeah. Maybe one regular behind I would have left it, because you never know what you roll next turn, and maybe Shadow can win, can have an explosive military victory win. Let's see. I mean, Shadows literally needs to take Minas Tirith, Rivendell, and then Woodland Realm. So I don't know, maybe leaving behind a regular. But okay, we're all in at this point. Okay, yes, indeed. But wait, yes, to bring behind as well a leader. I think Wei misplayed a little bit. Maybe wanted to now use the character die to move back. No, what happened? I'm not so sure about what happened right now. Okay, no, he left. Okay, sorry. He left the regular behind. Yes, exactly. I think that's the best thing to do. Yeah. Wei has to be very careful. Wei has to be very careful. The shadow player may still win with the military victory. Let's see. Okay, we see the attack on Rivendell. Okay, shadow strategy card. You have to play advantageous position, I guess. Let's go. Deadly Strife. Ooh. Okay, one hit, two hits. Okay, let's see what happens back. Two hits back. Is and then there is going to be the press. Okay, taking the lead because you want to be able to downgrade those elites that are going to attack Dol Guldur. Well seen, by the way. Are we going to see the press? That's an important decision to make. It really depends on the Shadows combat cards, but unfortunately we cannot see. But okay, let's see if savedbyhim will press the attack. No, there are not enough regulars. I cannot believe this. There are only two regulars left in the Shadow reinforcement pool, which means he cannot downgrade the two elites and then press the attack again. Oh my god. Oh my god. No. So I guess you cannot. Ah, this is unlucky. I guess you cannot press. Oh my god. Yeah. How do you do this? Do you take an elite and then you press potentially twice? Or you I don't know. It's a tough decision. Are you going to press? No, no press. Okay. Yep. Those armies are getting pretty beefy towards Dol Guldur. Mm-mm. Do you master in Dol Guldur now as the shadow player? Unfortunately, again, we cannot see his hand, but I guess you have to master in Dol Guldur. I guess you have to. Try to ace. Yeah, that's also a possibility. But actually, no, it decides to go down to Northern Rovanion, which also defends. Okay, I like this move, which also defends Dol Guldur in the next turns. And putting one regular in Dimridale so that you're threatening of capturing Lorien this turn, which I really like. I really like this move from Saved by Him. And I think that now Free People of Space is forced to attack into Dimridale. No other choice. Unless you're quite confident in Minas State, or I mean, what else? Yeah, I mean, unless you're very confident about your defense, and then you don't care about protecting Lorien at all. But let's see, is it Dimildale or Dol Guldur? Yep, definitely. Very interesting for sure. Okay, you're going for Mount Gundabad, and so we're all in. I guess that by the end of the next turn, we will see uh, the next world champion. I think this is it, guys. I think this is it. One, two, three, four. Three people players needs four attacks though. You have to be sure that you're going to have four attacks. And also we see that three people plays through Mirror of Galadriel and Path of the Roses. But you have to be sure to draw four cards. Four attacks. Good just mastering Lorien? Yeah, for sure. But I feel like yeah, you can definitely do that. But I feel like if that's going to happen, if the shadow player has one, two, three, four, five, six, seven attacks, which doesn't have. Okay, okay, but uh, you don't even need to protect. Yeah, I feel like yeah. Okay, three people player finally doesn't have a good role, so no military victory for the three people player. Let's see with four attacks, what can Shadow do? Maybe even five attacks. We don't know what's in. With five attacks, Shadow players can win this turn. It can. So you have to protect Lorien for sure. But now, now it's interesting. Okay, Shadow Player could potentially win this turn, but it's a stretch because the most difficult part, I think, it's Minas Tirith. But it could. So let's see now. I feel like if you're going for Minas Tirith, Rivendell, and Woodland Realm, if you have five attacks, That's it. But you have to take. That's the difficult part. You have to take. You have to take a Minas Tirith with one attack, which I think is rather unlikely. So maybe we will not see victory this turn, this very turn. Okay, now the tables have turned. Now it feels like three people should be doing something. Otherwise, Shadow may potentially win next turn. Because even if you win military next turn with three people player, but the Shadow wins at the same turn of military, the Shadow has priority of victory. So I expected. I stand by the decision though. Expected 5 attacks. Okay, but you never know. You never know. You never know. Okay. 5 attacks. Yeah. Well. Okay. No, I think this is a very deciding turn because I feel like starting from this turn, Shadow may take back the initiative and actually potentially win the next turn with the right dice and the right cards. I think this is a very deciding turn. The fact that the three people player didn't roll enough attacks this turn, this could change pretty much everything. And as the Shadow, I think I would directly go winning turn. No, okay, winning turn for sure not, because taking Minas Tirith, it's not possible this turn. But regardless of the fact that you can win this turn, you can win the next turn as Shadow. And even if the few people player wins next turn with military victory, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I think we're going to see now the Shadow players going into Dale and maybe moving armies out of Dol and going towards Minas Tirith. I don't know. Because you have to decide, am I prioritizing putting Bodrengirm under siege or attacking Rivendell? And I think you want to put Bodrengirm under siege. Yes. So this is what we're getting now. And I guess the second movement is something out of Dol. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Deadman 6. Let's wait for Deadman. I was just counting, indeed. Yes, minions die. Yes, minions die to um, Deadman. Mm-mm. I guess you have to. Oh, you're not mastering in Woodland Realm? How many elites are left? Okay, yes, you have to master in Woodland Realm. Yes, indeed. Okay, so now Woodland Realm is put under siege. There we go. Okay. Now, Friendly's Archers has to be played because you don't know if the Shadow player has some cards like Black Captain Commands or the Ring Red Bird, so you have to defend Wooden Realm. Yeah, this is a decisive turn. This is a decisive turn, and potentially, let's see what happens. But Saved by Him could win by next turn. Huh? Oh, Kindred's of Glorfindel. This is a huge though. Okay, okay. Let's hope that Saved by Him goes for Rivendell now, because he probably foresaw this. Like he just put. Yeah, he has Elven Elites. He has like at least one more Elven Elite, something like that. So you have to go for Rivendell now. If you don't have, okay, let's hope that Saved by Him can see this. He is an extremely intelligent player. Since he has played Franduil's Archers, he knows that he has to go on Rivendell because now nothing else can be played on. But okay, how many attacks do you have? Because you have to consider also the attacks from the 3 people players at the beginning of next turn. Like if you have, if Saved by Him as a Black Captain commands or the Ringwords are abroad, you have to attack Rivendell right now. Let's see what happens. Oh no, no, no. Unfortunately, it probably didn't have any of those 2 cards. So Nazgul in Mount Gundabad and Nazgul in Moria. I cannot believe this. And now we will see. Oh my god. This game. This game. Ah, so frustrating. I cannot believe this. Yep, there we go. Yeah, good. Yes. Yeah. Book of Mazarbul. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Now maybe Wei took some initiative back. Actually, uh, actually, now I'm not so sure. Now I'm not so sure if the 3 people, if the shadow player can win by next turn. No, so close. It was so close for shadow. I want to be clear. I'm not supporting anybody in this game. I'm happy for either of those players to win. But like, it feels so frustrating, despite all the bad luck for the shadow player that has been through, and he had a shot, and now it feels like it's going away. We will see character die plus ring to put Dol Guldur under siege at all. Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if you want to give a ring away for that, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's definitely an option. 1, 2. But the question is if you want to give a ring away this turn. That's the question. Unless you don't want many masters in. But I don't know how many shadow elites, like Sauron elites, are left at this point in the reinforcement pool. That would be interesting to see. I'm not so sure. No, Kindred of Glorfindel. Oh, I cannot believe this. Yeah. 3 people stole the initiative back. There was a moment where Shadow was back in the game, and I feel like the moment is gone now. Okay, we see the ring being used to go for Woodland Realm and Minas State. We see some shuffling of the Nazguls. Also pretty unlucky that the shadow player didn't draw Black Captain commands of the Ruined Cerebroda up until this point. Yeah, indeed. Kind of agree with Bobo Joe Bob Show One. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Not sure. I also feel like Shadow Player hasn't drawn very good cards in this game, or maybe he drew them, but they were like kind of drawn at an inconvenient time. Because looking at the combination of the cards that he has played at the time that he played them and what he discarded later on, I feel like, yeah, the sequence of the cards that he drew and the dice that he rolled was not very good for him. We're almost into 2 hours of these streams, so let's see. I feel like we are pretty much reaching the end of the game. And yes, we are going for North Anduin Vale. Now, you have to master in... by the way, this is also why I like this move, because you could master in Dol Guldur, but then the three people players may decide to attack into Dimrildale and go for Moria instead. So that's why also we see maybe one regular and one regular in Moria and Dol Guldur from the Shadow player, which is a clever move. Yeah, you have to do that because like three people players may easily go for Moria as well. So and you're left with only 2 elites in your reinforcement pool. That's crazy. The Sauron reinforcement pool is limited to only 2 elites. So you have to be very careful as the Shadow player on how you use them. Okay, we see a change of mind from the Shadow player. Okay, an elite in Dol Guldur. And I guess at this point, 3 people is going to attack into Dimrildale. Using 1 ring. Yeah. No. Okay. This is a tough choice, huh? 1 regular in Dol Guldur and then 1 regular in Moria. That's it. Yes, I think that's the best choice. Now, do you want to go for Dol Guldur or you want to go for Moria? I feel like probably, well, we have seen, okay, this is the thing. We have already seen Orcs multiplying again. So, and I'm not so sure if Pits of Mordor was played already as a combat card effect or as a combat card effect. So, if both those cards have been played, Orcs multiplying again, we have seen. But I don't remember we have seen Pits. Yeah, we have don't see Pits, I think. So with Pits, do you want to go for Dol Guldur? I think you still want to go for Dol Guldur because 1 card still is left to defend. Okay, many cards, but let's say 1 specific card is left to defend Dol Guldur. And one specific card, which is Shadows of the Misty Mountains, which again I don't think it has been played, can defend Moria. And probably that's why also Saved by Him is leaving two elites in the reinforcement pool, because probably he has uh, Shadows was played Mount Graham. Okay, so no Shadows. Okay, in that case, maybe then I would go for Moria. It is true that you can still play Barog, which is a pretty good defensive card, but maybe Moria at this point? No, okay, we're going for Dol Guldur. Let's do some gambling. Okay. Yes, let's remind for people who are joined later in the stream that Ologai, Hill Trolls, and Half Orcs and Goblin are still out there, and given how many cards that the Shadow player has drawn, like that, most likely in the Shadow player's hands, but they might not be enough. They might not be enough. Let's see. Oh, okay. Wooden Realm gets attacked. Wow. Oh, maybe one of those cards got played. I think Hologai got played like a combat card effect. So I guess Iltrolls and Fox and Goblinman are left out there. Essentially, there are still three cards, strategy cards that can defend um, Dol Guldur if they've not been played already. But if now it decides to attack Woodland Realm, it means that it doesn't have that card. None of those cards, which again is crazy. No hits. No hits back. No, okay, one hit because of Great Host. Yes. Like, why? Okay, I guess the Shadows doesn't have neither Pits of Murder, neither Alfox and Goblin Man, and neither Hiltors, which is crazy. But also the goals of Saved by Him. Like, I'm so sorry, but like, this game is so like, what are these rules? This game is so against him. Elite and regular. I don't know. I guess no. I don't think it's out of Southern and Eastern troops. I think it's just. Uh, I don't know. Maybe the Elven regular. Yeah, I think it's instead of downgrade. Um, yeah, it's a tough balance because you still want to protect your own armies. Like you want to protect your sieged strongholds, and at the same time you want to have potentially you want to downgrade into the Dol Guldur siege. But I guess at this point it's more important to defend your armies. So I think it's good to do the downgrade because at this point you have enough elites also from northern units in Dol Guldur that I think taking the downgrade it's the best choice. So we see Guards of the Citadel and Dead Man of Danaro for the 3 people player. Okay, well, right. Okay. Now to think for 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, this could be it because, okay, potentially worst case scenario, really worst case scenario, I think the Shadow players has 5 attacks. A worst case scenario for the 3 people. With 5 attacks, what can the Shadow do? One attack, let's say, to take um, Wooden Realm. And then you still have 3 more points to get. And you have to take Minas Tirith and Rivendell. Because uh, potentially, as we saw, the 3 people players as that Man of the Arrow, you can take back Edoras. Like, you need to take two strongholds. So you have 4 more attacks and you have to take 2 strongholds. So either you're just going all in on Minas Tirith and um, Rivendell, but Rivendell feels very bad. Rivendell feels very bad. Or you're going for Erebor. But for Erebor, you need a reinforcement card. Like, if now you can take Wooden Realm and for some miracle you lose pretty much nothing of your shadow army in Wooden Realm, then you need either shadows from the east or many kings, many kings. And in that case, do you have enough attacks? Maybe you don't even have enough attacks there. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, you don't even have enough attacks. That's the crazy thing. Even if you have the reinforcement, you cannot go for Aeroball. It doesn't look good either way. So, okay. I guess as Shadow, well, first of all, let's see. First attack in Dol Guldur, which is, of course, you have to go for it. And by the way, I think this is it. I think this is it because if you take Dol Guldur, you can even go and take potentially Moria or something like that. And even if you don't go for Moria, you can go take back Edoras, and you can also take Edoras is difficult, to be fair, but you can still go for Edoras, and you can also still take back Pelagi through that Man and Denaro. I feel like this is the end of the line. Let's see what happens. Okay, strategy card. What is using? Well, is using charge, I guess. Or sudden strike. Okay, unless you want to. Okay. I guess you want to keep Guards of the Citadel just to prevent the Shadow military victory on Minas Tirith. Yeah, you also have Guards of the Citadel. Like, okay, this game I think is. Yeah, that's it. You just need to keep Dol Guldur and defend Orthanc, and you're done. Wow. Okay. 2 hits from Sudden Strike. And then we have 1 more and 2 more. Okay, well, Dol Guldur is done. Done for. No hits back. Okay, well. I think here we have it. It's the pass. Okay, another pass. You're going to lose an elite. Yeah, but I think at this point you have to do it. Come on. Okay, no cards. Ah, there was still one in the casualty. What? I don't think you can do that. I think you're forced to take it from the casualties. Mm, not so sure, honestly. Yeah, I think you have to do the downgrade if you're taking an elite. And when there are no regulars left, uh, you can kill the elite. But I think in this scenario, you're forced to downgrade it into a regular. But let's see. He wants to keep it for even the limb, I guess. Otherwise, I'm still confused since the wooden and yellow battle. Yeah, I mean, like, yes, of course, you want to keep it for defensive purposes because at this point, you don't care how many elites you have in Dol Guldur. Like, you're gonna take Dol Guldur, and you don't care how many. If you kill one elite for it, and you want to keep the other elites back for both Rivendell and also Woodland Realm. So yeah, but the question is if you can do that, and I'm not so sure you can do it. Looks like it's forced. Yes, exactly. I don't think you have a choice for it. Indeed. So yeah, you have to downgrade into a regular. Okay, well, that's it. Gundabad is gone. 1 hit back. At least you took one regular back. So you can take the exactly the Alvan regular. So that's good. Take 1 hit back even in this scenario. Now, you just have to protect Orthanc, and I think that's it. Because literally, the Shadow player, even if he has like a reinforcement card for going to Erebor, like you don't have enough attacks. So yeah, I don't think you have enough attacks. No, and therefore the Shadow player, I think he has to do the Woodland Realm Rivendell Minas State thing, even though like you're never going to take Minas State, I guess. Even Rivendell looks like desperate. Yeah, you have to go for Orthanc, but I feel like that's also losing. Yeah. No, no, for sure. Yeah, yeah. You have to go for Orthanc, but that's still losing. That's still losing. You have a heroic death in hand. Like that's it. I think this is Wei is going to be the 2026 world champion. I think. Yeah. Unless miracles, because miracles can always happen, but with average rolls, even a slightly lucky rolls. Yeah, no. 1, 2, let's count again the attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks for sure. Then if you do Black Captain commands, because I think if you do like you can only have one of the Black Captain commands or the Ring Word Cerebro in hand right now. Otherwise, it would have used some of them in the previous turns. So I feel like this is maximum 5 attacks for the Shadow players. Yeah, no, you have to go for Ortag. You're never going to take Minas State. You're never going to take a Rivendell. You have to go for Orc Tank. Now the question is like with 5 attacks, 4 attacks for sure, potentially 5 attacks. How do you take Orc Tank? I don't think you can. I don't think you can, especially with yeah. Yeah, the Heroic Death is so important, and sudden strike as well, charge, charge, especially charge. I don't know. I don't. I don't see this happen. Let's see though. Miracles can happen. Without mentioning the fact that even if you're going for no, because you don't have any more rings. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no. Okay, the army in Dol Guldur can't do too much to defend the Orthanc. And with 3 attacks, you cannot take Moria. But yeah, no. You just have 3 people players as only to defend Orthanc, and the Shadow players as only to attack Orthanc. That's it. I think this is kind of forced. I don't see any other way out here. Yeah, let's see. Like miracles can happen, but let's see. I don't know. Rivendell is going for the military win. Ah, I- do you? Okay, okay, okay. Let's see. Let's see. 1, 2. No. Well, okay. Let's see. Okay. Heal tools, but nope. No hits. Heroic death in defense. I think you have to keep the heroic death for Ortank away. But okay, you have been lucky. You lost one heroic death there. I don't know if I would have played heroic death there, honestly. Like Rivendell can still fall. It's important that just the last stronghold doesn't fall, which is Minas Tirith. So I don't know. I would have kept heroic death. I don't know if I would have played it. But anyway, okay, there is a stop here. So like that's it. You have okay. I don't think you can win anymore with a military approach unless you have both. Black Captain commands and Ring Racer abroad in head, but otherwise I don't see why you didn't play any of them before. Okay, those free strategy card, a power to grid. Okay, power to grid. But I don't think you will need it. I don't think you will have to play a power to grid either way. Also, why drawing a strategy card when you could merge your armies into the Force of Aizen? Okay. Okay, I think Wei is winning this game, but he should be careful not to make any mistake towards this last part of the game. He has to be careful. Do you have both the Captain Commands and Ring Racer bird? I don't think so. And even if you have both of them, what can you do? Let's say all these are attacks, 5 attacks. Ah, maybe you have ground. Okay, let's say you have ground. Let's say this is 5 attacks. 1, 2. I don't think you. I don't think you can do it. There is no way. There's just no way. Even if these are all attacks, one attack to take Riven, and one attack to take Wooden Realm, and you're left with 3 attacks. Either you're going for a desperate attack in Erebor. That's the only way, because or you're attacking 3 times Minas Tirith, but good luck there. And also there is Dead Man of the Narrow. That's why you need to go for 3 strongholds. But and you have to take Rivendell with I don't know. I don't see this happen. But again, miracles. Who knows? But that's literally what Saved by Him needs now, a miracle. It needs like very, 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 very good rolls. We also didn't see Shadows Gather, I think. We saw Shadow Lengthens. So that can change something for Minas Tirith. If you have Shadows Gather, but again, the problem is Rivendell. If he has movement cards, rather Gundabad to Rivendell. I'm not so sure if I understand this comment. What do you mean exactly? Woodland Realm. Okay. And no cards. Oh, okay, 1 card from the shadow. Okay. No cards for Swarm of Bats. Okay. Shadow is moving. 2 hits. Okay, 4 hits. So Wooden Realm is gone. 1 hit back. Okay. Move something out of the weather regular to threshold to enable the movement card. I see what you mean. Yes, that's also possible. But how many actions do you need for that? I don't know if it's enough actions that allows you to win. Okay. A power to get is played. Yes. And at this point, yeah, a power to get is played, and that's it. Yeah. 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 That's it. You cannot go for like there is no way. You have to go for Tank. with possibly, I don't know how many attacks you have. Maybe you have 2 or maybe 4. Anything between 2 and 4. I think it's most likely to be 2 or 3. But if you don't even have if you don't even have the attacks, you cannot even take back outflank. That's the crazy thing. So I guess, unless you can discard a power 2 gate. If you discard a power 2 gate, you're left with 3 attacks, 1 to take a Rivendell, then you have 2 attacks left. And with 2 attacks left, you have to go for Minas Tirith. Yeah. Can you still make it saved by him? I mean, there is a possibility. There is a possibility, but like you discard a power 2 gate, then you attack it, then you're left with 2 attacks. With 1, you move with Shadows Gather to Minas Tirith, and then you attack. Or you do choose Simple's attack on Minas Tirith. I mean, I guess it's still possible, but we will see. Amical, yes, cool. Okay, so we are going for Rivendell. Damn. Okay. I guess it's still possible. So that's it. That's Rivendell and Minas Tirith. Guards gets played. Yes, I agree with this. Of course. Yeah. And yeah, good luck. Good luck, everybody. I don't know. This is rough. Shadows Gather in Minas Tirith, I guess. Or even, yes, Rivendell. Yeah, sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Like, okay, let's see. You will need a miracle for Minas Tirith. Even Rivendell right now, it's not easy at all. This is not easy at all. Let's see. Yeah, no, Minas Tirith, I think that's it. That's game there. But again, who knows? A miracle may happen. A miracle may happen. And you don't have, most likely, you don't have combat cards because, like, you are one character and one strategy left. And you have to take 2 strongholds with that. Like, wow, very rough. Are you doing a card? Yes, probably a character card. Horn of Gondor. Pretty good. And now the last two attacks. Let's see. Which are you attacking first? Are you attacking first Minas Tirith or Rivendell? Minas Tirith. Okay. Strategy. Uh, yeah, no Witch King. Sudden Strike at this point. Ah, no, well, I mean, you can, well, yeah, why not? Use Sudden Strike. Mighty Attack, you can wait for it. You don't have to play it now. Okay, well, Mighty Attack. Half Orcs and Goblin Man. Okay, of course. No, of course. This is the role of the Shadow. My god. Okay, 1 hit back plus 3 hits total. Damn. Let's see. A miracle can still happen. Nope. There is the press. You have to press because why not? And then I guess no cards, or maybe he has still one card to play. Okay, character card. Press no cards. Okay. Card. Sorry. Okay, just play Sudden Strike. Why not? Exactly. False Stench. Nice. 0 hits. Okay, 1 hit. 1 hit only. Okay, that's it. Mathematically cannot take back Minas Tirith. The game is over. Yep, GG. We have the new world champion. Way. Okay, just some last actions to have some fun. Fellowship moves is true. Yeah. And then last attack on Rivendell, I guess, just to have fun. No cards. No cards. 2 hits. Ooh. 1 hit back. It's going to be press. Anyway, yes, the game is over. The player are still having some fun. So congratulations for Wei for becoming the new world champion of base game 2026. A big congratulations also to savedbyhim to have made it to the finals despite all of the bad lucks of his goals. And also, personally, this is a personal opinion. I would like to say also that I really esteem savedbyhim because I think that is one of the two best players of all time, in my humble opinion, him and Romstil. So the fact that he's consistently in the finals of world championships of leagues throughout many years, not only in base games, but also with expansions like Lords of the Middle Earth or also Warriors of Middle Earth, it really speaks a lot about its level. So congratulations also to savedbyhim. I would like to thank also all the people that have joined us for the stream today. Thanks a lot. And I'm sorry that you had to follow the stream to only one commentator. We tried to find a second commentator, but we couldn't. The time was just restricting for other people to join in. But it was very interesting also to read your comments and following through all this last game altogether. And thanks again for the game, for the finalists, for the organizers to have organized this beautiful World Championship. And also, for the people that didn't follow the stream, I will post the entirety of this stream, which is a little bit. How long is it? I think at this point we're around the 2 hours and 40 minutes. I will post the entirety of it on YouTube, and I will put the link in the What Content channel, so people can follow through it. And a big congratulations to the champion again, Wei. And yes, see you around for the next World Championship then. Bye bye then.